friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, smash that subscribe button. It's just down below. Or if you're on the podcast, the follow button. It's just around down below. It really helps get the word out. We can't thank y'all enough for all the growth. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Check us out also on Discord and Reddit, and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
We got some NHL talk. We got some Blue Bomber talk, a little bit of CFL talk, but we got some Winnipeg Jets talk. And of course, today is the day we're doing Jets talk first. And I forget to move our sponsor message up to the Jets talk. So Jets talk brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Contact them for your favorite custom needs, either football helmets, whatever you need, fridges,
hockey helmets, cowboy
hockey
hats,
hats, cowboy hats, lawnmowers, Grey Cups, fans, put stuff on
fridges,
whatever material you have.
Mural,
mural. That's on your garage, your man
on
cave,
your wall, basement wall, somewhere. Yeah, that's been done.
See, we don't need that script no more. You can find them on Facebook, Fahrenheit Airbrushing, or you can call them at, 204-891-7431. Tell them Ray and Benny sent you. It was worth memorizing it. Fahrenheit Airbrushing, thank you for your sponsorship. Let's get into it. Winnipeg Jets talk. They just played the Sharks and the Kings to finish off a California road trip. Let's discuss these games. Who stood out? What were some struggles? Let's start with the Sharks. You go first, my friend.
Yeah, let's start with that struggle. I mean, it's the big elephant in the room that we've all been talking about. Power play. Again, 0 for 5 in this game. The Jets end up losing this game to San Jose 2-1. Basically, they can't beat Blackwood. The opportunities on the power play, just nothing could cash in. And there was one stat on Twitter about it. They had 19 shot attempts. 3 of those shots were blocked, 8 missed the net, and 8 shots on goal. So the opportunities are kind of there. But are they good opportunities? And it doesn't seem like it because the Jets can't score. The only good thing out of this game was, again, Laurent Brossoit with his second good game in a row.
Yeah, with Brossoit, what's that saying? Like once it's happenstance, whatever. I didn't do very good in English in university, anyways. Screw that saying, man. But you know what I'm saying?
2 times is good, right?
Twice is coincidence. Third time is a pattern, or the enemy's about to attack. Whatever it is, Laurent Brossoit is on his second time there. He's coming back with a .938 save percentage in this game, but it just looked like the Jets weren't ready off the top. Like they were down 11-1 in shots in the first few minutes. It was crazy. And the Sharks were swarming in the Jets zone, and a shot was just taken like around the top of the face-off circles, and there's traffic in front of Brossoit, and it went in. And again, going 0 for 5 on the power play, and 0 for 2 yesterday. So with Anaheim, that's 0 for 12 in California.
Yeah, and we kind of talked down or about the Jets not playing down to their opponents too much this year. And they kind of did it in Anaheim, but they were able to fight back, and they really did it against San Jose. Like you say, coming out of the gates and you're getting outshot like that by one of the worst teams in the league, and not capitalizing on the power play against one of the worst penalty kills in the league, and then also giving up a power play goal late in the third to a team that's not very good on the power play either. So it wasn't a good night all around. And like you say, the Jets just did not show up. And we talked about the last episode. Anything can happen, especially in California. They've gone in and they've stunk it up. So not a good game.
Opportunities were there though. Like Josh Morrissey put one off the post.
Yeah, Mackenzie.
Like, seriously?
Mackenzie Blackwood made some good saves. He held them in that. He definitely gave San Jose a chance to win that game. So and Brossoit did too. So
32 for 32.
Yeah.
Not Brossoit, Blackwood. The Kings, again with a slow start, down 2-0 early. But once they got going in a big way, especially that first line, and especially Vilardi coming back. That PLD trade, you got to celebrate that now. Because in June, he was happy to come here because he was kind of relegated to a bottom 6 role in the LA Kings. And right now, he looks like a top 6 NHLer anywhere. And this is what the Kings were looking for. 11th overall when they picked him. And unfortunately, because of injuries that got in the way, he didn't progress. But man, he's looking good, and that first line's looking good.
Yeah, and he got back to form a little bit there, right? After a few games, like he scored he scored against Anaheim, right? Now he got a goal and 3 assists last night.
Yeah,
and he just got it started. Hell, he kept them, in the game in that first, because even though it was 2-0, the Kings were dominating. They were all over the Jets. The Jets looked bad. You even sent me a text going, "Wow, this is terrible," and it's just like, yeah, we haven't seen them play that bad in a while. Maybe against the Oilers a little bit. So you're thinking another good team. Are they going to lay another egg? But the first goal to me for the Kings, they were on the power play. They scored on the power play, but it looked like Kempe cross checks Sandberg to the back, knocks him down, and then Kopitar scores from in front of the net. It's like, how does that happen? Should that not have been a penalty? And second goal was off the back of Hellebuck's head and in the net, and then the Jets scored some beauties. Nick Ehlers is first. The funny thing is Trevor Lewis, I was watching the highlights again, and Trevor Lewis takes a shot. Hellebuck tries to glove it, and then for some reason just drops it in front of the net. And I'm thinking, why didn't you cover that up? But then all of a sudden, after a scramble, it turns the other way, and Ehlers scores his first of the night. I was like, holy crap, like, thank God he actually dropped it. It was nuts.
Oh, and again with Vilardi and the beautiful passes to Ehlers, setting him up in the first two. Holy cow, he's on his game. Hellebuck, 32 out of 34, 941 play save percentage. I think he's like on an 18-game streak where he hasn't let in more than 3 goals. I read that on Twitter, I believe, or X, or whatever Elon Musk wants to call that garbage. The Kings are on a 3-game losing streak, so they might have hit them on that slide. But at the same time, you used plus minus last week, and I'm going to support you on the use of plus minus. People want to talk trash about plus minus.
I don't totally like using it, though.
Most of the time, it's an absolutely great representation of 5-on-5 play. And you play 5-on-5 most of the time. Yes, special teams is important, but the Jets are thriving on 5-on-5 play, and their first line was +5 on the night. So people got to stop discounting plus minus. Yeah, you want to use it solely, but for a measure of 5-on-5 play, +5 is crazy good.
It's not perfect in the sense that a guy just stepped on the ice, they score, or a guy stepped off the ice and they score or scored against or something, like stuff like that. So not perfect in that way, but yeah, it's not a bad thing to use. And like you said, Ehlers stood out, great. And Ehlers is funny because he had a great shot, I think, in the first, and he missed it or he hit the post or something like that. But then he comes out and he can shoot. He just needs to get some confidence a little bit more. And he hit those corners big last night. And then Scheifele, the funny one was Scheifele's goal, right, where PLD breaks his stick. And I know he's following his guy, but he's just not putting any effort into really taking his guy out of it. He followed him, but it was just a classic PLD play, almost like his quick play back in Columbus, where he had that shift. And it's just like you were watching him going, oh, man. So, yeah, right now, Vilardi, Iafallo, Kupari for PLD is looking good. And plus, they gave him that $8.5 million contract, which, you look at Byfield this year, he's having a pretty good year. So there may be some questions there when they have to sign Byfield, and they possibly can't because you got Dubois. So, but great game. Great game, though, for the Jets. I mean, those last 2 periods, there was comments that, hey, man, they were dominant. They were looking great. They have never looked this good. It was just a dominating 2 periods.
And Hellebuck is on a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah, and he locked it down too again late in the game. The one thing that impressed me, actually, I didn't even know this: 1 shot for the Kings in the last 11 minutes of the game.
Crazy.
Like, that's how good or better the Jets defense is this year compared to it, that they can shut down a game like this. Whereas in years past, you'd be sitting on the edge of your seat clenching because you knew the Jets were going to blow a 2-0 lead or a 2-goal lead late in the third.
And those forwards are playing good D.
Yeah,
that 200-foot game on the Jets this year, which Rick Bowness demands of his players. He's getting it.
He is.
He's getting it from them.
It's the tough system, though. Can you keep it going?
Well, as long as they keep it going now, they'll just get stronger and stronger, we hope.
Everyone will be waiting for that January swoon like they usually do. So hopefully they come out strong after Christmas.
Let's preview the Jets playing the Avs and the Canadiens. What do they need to do to win? Who do you think is going to step up? Obviously, I'm going to preface this talk by saying the Jets, they need to find their power play to work in the next couple of games. Obviously, they show they can win without it, but against these teams, they definitely need to show it. Or against this first team, they do.
Yeah, I mean, they just beat Colorado, just over a week ago. Colorado's gone 2-1 since then. They lost the game to the Flyers, but they've given up a lot of goals actually in those games. The last 2, Colorado's given up 11. They've scored 11, but in the last 3, they've given up 11. So, they've scored a lot, but they've also given up a lot. So the one thing that might be bad for the Jets is they're returning from this Western road trip. Usually after a road trip or even a homestand, your first game out of the gate is not as good. But luckily they have 2 nights for it. Power play's got to get going. Yeah, especially against this game against Colorado because they have a good power play. and just play well defensively again, like they did last week when they played them.
Yeah, and playing well defensively means they got to shut down Nate McKinnon because that guy is going crazy right now. I believe he's on a 12-game point streak.
He scored last week, right, against the Jets.
But I think the Jets can handle them. They definitely have superior goaltending. They have superior depth. The Avalanche with that win, they don't look very intimidating. Like I know a 4-2 win will do that to you, but just their performance, what's his name? Rantanen? Where's that guy? He's been like invisible this whole year. So without their top stars, they're not a very strong team. Their goaltending is definitely not very good. So I think 5-on-5 down the line, they can be dominant, more dominant than they were when they played LA. And I think Niederreiter will have a huge game against them.
Yeah, I kind of want to see that second line, someone to step up. That second line's kind of got to step up at this point because they've kind of gone cold in the last little bit. So I'd like to see some good play out of them. And the Jets will need it because you can't count on your top line, getting all 5 goals in a game or whatever. So
I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets started third line in this one.
Yeah.
Start them right away. Start with that attitude. Physically dominate that. Because Colorado's going to start that first line. They don't have any other option. They got to start that first line to start the game. So I start that third line. Let the Lowry line kick their ass right off the bat. And then they got Montreal. I don't really know much about this team because I don't watch them because they're garbage. Sorry, not garbage. They're not fun to watch. What's the benefit maybe is that they're not playing at the Bell Center that they play horribly in. They're a little bit better on the road, so maybe it might be a good game that way. But
yeah, usually
they start Brossois on this one.
Usually the Jets go to Montreal and they play terribly, even if Montreal is really bad, right? So hopefully it's the other way around and they take advantage and not play down to Montreal. Montreal started off great in the season, but they've fizzled. And I was just looking at some of their stats, and it's like bottom 10 for goals for, bottom 10 for goals against, bottom half for penalty kill and power play. And they give up a lot of power plays because they're 6th worst for penalty minutes. So it hasn't been good in Montreal. So I can see the Jets taking this one again, as long as they play their game and they out physical Montreal. But we know they just sometimes struggle against Montreal here and there. But yeah, it should be a good game for the Jets here.
When we talk about these trap games a couple of weeks ago with the Jets,
is because they've had a few of them
Jets,
too, right?
Or is it a characteristic of just top teams? And it's we had that question too with the Bombers.
Yeah,
Hamilton, Ottawa.
Playing down to you play down to your opponent because you think it's going to be easy, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes you can't kick that.
Sometimes when you come off a game against Colorado as well, a division opponent, in that hard game, win or lose, sometimes and especially when you win, then the next game is kind of a letdown, especially when you're playing a team that's on the opposite end of the standings, right? So
no gas left in the tank.
No, because you gave it all for one night, and you think, hey, we can do half of what we did the other night and probably still win this game. And it's the NHL, man. Professional sports, it never happens that easily.
Yeah, we were just talking before we started recording about how unpredictable the NFL season's been this year.
Oh yeah.
What craziness. Kyle Connor's been confirmed now, 6 to 8 weeks. Looks like his rehab time. With that news, can the Jets count on Vilardi to continue his scoring ways? You go first.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to, and hope he does, right? But that was a very promising last game. The other game against Anaheim. That he's kind of maybe turning around, maybe he's getting his legs under him, and between him, Ehlers, and Scheifele, obviously we've got to see another game, or at least over the next couple games that they can still maybe not put up 5 points, but there's still a dominating line that gets scoring opportunity as well, right? And the funny thing is, Connor was the one who was the worst defensively on that line, so maybe that line will even get better defensively together. So I expect him to keep it up, and as long as he can stay healthy, it'll definitely be a good line.
That's what I have. As long as he stays healthy, yes. And like I mentioned, this is what the Jets were expecting, or the Kings were expecting from this dude when they drafted him 11th overall in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And injuries held him back. So hopefully we're seeing him turn that corner, because who's the coach in Tom McClellan? Yeah, Vilardi said he was not holding him back, but playing him in the bottom 6 because he's worried about his defensive play. And I've never been concerned about that this year with Vilardi.
No, yeah.
He's definitely worked on that 200-foot game, and he's a great playmaker, great in the corners. So those passes to Ehlers again.
The whole breakout between the three of them. It's funny because we watched Scheifele and Connor play together, and it's like they knew where each other are going to be, right? But on that goal where they all broke out together, I think it was Vilardi to Scheifele or Scheifele to Vilardi and then to Ehlers, the first goal. And it's just like they all just knew where they kind of were. And it just, tic-tac-toed it kind of thing. And yeah, a great setup and great goal.
So say the Jets play, win-loss record around whatever they're playing now, 650 to 750 hockey. Say if they keep that going, say if this first line keeps going +3, +5 in their efforts every game, say Kyle Connor comes back. What do you do? Especially with Perfetti not playing very well recently with the loss of Ehlers to the first line. Are you concerned with that performance? And what do you do when Kyle Connor comes back, maybe to get Perfetti going? Because he's definitely slowed down.
Yeah, I mean, if like you say, 6 to 8 weeks, so it's going to be around the All-Star break or somewhere where Connor actually gets back. But yeah, if the top line is playing well and have a good next couple of months, yeah, it'll be tough to break them up just to put Connor back in there in Vilardi's spot. So I would definitely throw Connor back on second line. And hopefully, Perfetti is going by then, right?
No doubt.
You can't wait 2 months for him to finally get going. But yeah, ever since Ehlers has left that line, he's pointless in the last 5. And Namestnikov was out for a bit. So I think Vilardi played center there for one. Barron's been playing there. Iafallo here and there. So yeah, that line's just kind of mixed maxed right now, and maybe they're just not finding that chemistry. So to me, I'm not totally concerned yet, but I'd like to see that second line stick together. But if they can't get anything going over the next couple of games, yeah, then I'll definitely be concerned.
Yeah, like it concerns me for, I guess, the immediate future for Perfetti, as how much of a catalyst for playmaking is he? Since eventually we do want him to play center, hopefully second line center. So that's a bit of a concern when more of the weight is on him on a line. But I don't think he's ready to play center on that second line. I don't think that's a shift right now.
No.
It might be a shift where maybe Appleton gets a shot. You might have to disrupt that third line just to put some kind of more, I don't know, Appleton just adds that fire a bit to that line. Because I don't think you want to split up Niederreiter, and Lowry. But maybe Appleton's the fix to that if it just doesn't get going. But I'm like you, I'm ready to give them a few whatever games to see if they can get that chemistry going with Namestnikov just coming back as well.
Yeah, because even Iafallo's kind of fallen off. He hasn't scored or got any points in a long time. So, with Barron up there, who's not necessarily a good offensive player, kind of makes it tougher as well. Like Barron's good at chipping a goal here and there, but he's not going to be probably scoring 3 games in a row or anything like that. So it doesn't leave Perfetti with a lot of other playmakers on that other side. But yeah, maybe they can find the right fix if it is Appleton or if Iafallo, you try him back up there and see if you can kind of regain a bit of that scoring touch.
Yeah, 4 or 5 shots combined as a line in 15 minutes of play is not good.
No, not at all. And with Connor out, you're going to need these guys to step up. The first line's not going to put up those numbers every night. So,
yeah. Jets fans, put your comments in the comment section below. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Blue Bomber talk and some CFL talk. CFL schedules got released today, surprisingly. We are like getting ready to research for today's program, and we're like, okay, well, I guess there's not much CFL action going. 10 minutes later, schedule. So we're going to start off with the schedule, top 3 games that pop on the Blue Bombers schedule. I kind of cheated on this one, but you go first.
I just gotta say, it's just classic CFL to just plop that schedule. Like we heard rumors that possibly the schedule would be out today, but it's just like plop it out there, like no announcement, no nothing. It's just like all of a sudden it's there. Classic, classic CFL, man.
Yeah.
You know how many people you get possibly online saying, "Hey, we're gonna release this at 2:00." You'll have people refreshing pages and going crazy, but no, whatever, it's there. Anyways,
yesterday maybe, today drop it.
Yeah, go. Time to go home.
Oh goodness.
Obviously, game 1 for me is one that pops. It's the rematch versus the Owls. I'm excited for that one because I'd like to see the Bombers kind of exact a little bit of revenge. I know it's not the same as winning the Grey Cup, but that should be a good game. My only problem with that game is that it's actually in Winnipeg, and I know we talked about this today, but I still feel like the Grey Cup champion should be hosting that first game of the season. But hey, it is what it is.
I love the drama. I'm going to piggyback off this one. I love the drama of the CFL season starting logistically, kind of, maybe. I didn't clock all the times of the games, of starting the season with Bombers Als and then ending the season with Bombers Als. At least that's a Bombers schedule. CFL season, I don't know the time of the games, but I like the drama in that.
Yeah.
Where did these Grey Cup finalists and champion obviously start the season, and where are they now going into the last week of the season? So I really like that one. You want to have it in Montreal, but the CFL, this is your marquee game. You want to show it kind of in the States as well. You want a full, newer looking stadium. And I really do hope, we were talking about, as you mentioned this before, I really do hope the owner of the Alouettes put some serious money into that stadium, because I love the look of it. With the buildings there on campus. Apparently there's lots of bars and lots of restaurants around. You don't want to change the location, but that aesthetic and comfort of the stadium has to improve. And I think if it was at like A level, home opener would be there.
Can they expand that stadium at all?
Well, they expanded it like from 17 or 19 to 25, and then they reduced it to 23 in the past couple of years. So I don't think it's about seats. It's about maybe having backs to the seats. Like, so you can't have benches anymore. This is professional sports. Right. You can't be sitting on benches. And you got to throw color. It can't be all gray all the time in that stadium. Throw some red and blue around there, and then you're cooking.
Yeah, if they can get back to 25, that would be great. Fuller stadium with that. I don't know how they would do it, like you say, if they have bench seats or proper seats, but that'd be nice to see it. Each stadium in the CFL at least hold 25 to 30, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not necessarily on capacity. I'm cool with 23,000 in a full house.
Yeah.
But have some blue and red seats.
Yeah.
So it looks nice, because I'm just saying. And I'm sure the new owner is on that already.
Hope so, because it was late. Was it just before the season last year that they took over? Right,
at least halfway through.
Before free agency, even, or after free agency, I can't remember. So it was just this year, right? So so hopefully in their second year they make a few more changes to that stadium, or a few changes, not a few more.
There's like a huge, apparently, chemical pipe on the side of one of the buildings that's beside seating that has a warning of, be careful. Some kind of chemical steam might blow out of here and give you freeze. What do you call it? Freeze burn because of it. Get out of here. How can you have that in a stadium? Fix it. Come on, hilarious. Owner.
Wow.
You own a TV station. It's fine.
I didn't know that.
I with the Jets Bombers season, sorry, not Jets. I really like the gauntlet, or I'm kind of scared of the gauntlet of playing the Argos and then playing the Lions on 4 days rest, and then having 17 days rest before their next game. That's the middle of the season for the Bombers. Yeah. That's going to be a tough stretch right there. So that's one that pops for me.
And speaking of that Toronto game, I'm actually excited for that one because it's first meeting. Because obviously last year, we all know it, the meeting sucked. It was, meant nothing for Toronto. They put backups in, but this early in the season, week 8, they should. Obviously, they're fighting still for their playoff positioning and all that stuff at that point. So as long as you don't face the injuries, you got your full lineups in there. And we'll finally see Chad Kelly versus Zach Collaros, and have them go toe to toe as well. So, and those good defenses. So I'm excited to see that one. And it should happen. And that one's in Toronto. So
yeah, that'll be good. What other games or game situations pop for you?
I mean, to me, it's obviously the Labor Day ones, Banjo Bowl. Those ones are always fun to watch, and having that back-to-back weekend, because at that point the season is getting serious. But the other one I'll take is the first game against BC, which is Friday, June 21st, week 3, an early battle between the top 2 teams in the West from last year. We'll see if they are there this year. But we remember when BC came in last year early in the season and whooped the Bombers' butt. So I'm excited to see that one and see how those top teams will match up.
Yeah, I'm really liking the schedule for the Bombers in general. Before we move on, I like the Thursday games. They start the season with 2 Thursday games, and they have one more before they go on to the bye halfway through the season, and then no more after that, which is great. It kind of sucks that they don't play Edmonton until like half after Labor Day. Like September is the first time they play them. It'd be nice to play the Elks earlier, but that's not happening. So I think it's a beneficial schedule for the Bombers in general.
Yeah, because you look at it, they play Ottawa twice in the first 5 weeks of the season. Calgary in the first 6 weeks, they play both those games, and that's it. They don't face Calgary again later in the season because I think they play BC and Saskatchewan 3 times.
Jeez.
So yeah, no Calgary late in the season. You got the 2 the 2 Elks games late, but yeah, it kind of sucks that you don't see Calgary later on.
Last three games are also against Eastern teams.
Are they really?
So if playoff, I think so. So if there's any playoff things on the line, I think it's all East.
That's weird. Hamilton, Toronto, and then Montreal.
Good old CFL schedule makers.
usually want to keep those divisional matchups, right? And they play the Elks the 2 games before that, and then it's the before that it's the Banjo Bowl and Labor Day. So
2 teams in September.
Yeah,
Saskatchewan, exactly. Edmonton,
and Edmonton. That's it.
Yeah, CFL schedule makers having a couple IPAs while you're scheduling. I get it.
I love it.
It's
love it. and they play BC 3 times in the first 11 weeks of the season.
That's gonna be crazy.
That's crazy. Yes. You know what, man? If the CFL schedule made more sense, it'd probably be even weirder for us at that point, right? I love these schedules, how they come out, and it's like all over the place.
The quirkiness of the CFL is why we embrace it. Come on now, or else we have nothing to talk about.
Exactly.
The Cardinals have been having CFL heavy workouts. No news about a Brady Oliveira workout lately, but if there was a team or teams that you think he looked good in the NFL, who do you think it'd be? Or who would you think it'd be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Oliveira showed this year that he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. Very good straight runner, finding those holes and little cuts. I don't know where he'd end up being good, but you know what I would like to see him go would be the Ravens, because they're a run first team. You got Lamar Jackson. They usually have a decent O-line as well, and I think that would be wonderful for Oliveira to get there and be on a team that knows how to run the ball.
Yeah, it definitely has to be a good running game or good running scheme. And I think a specific running scheme to Brady Oliveira. The Bombers play a great zone blocking system. So I think if you look at teams like Miami or Cincinnati, or Tennessee, who really focus on zone blocking, running in between the tackles, I think that's where Brady Oliveira, or the Eagles, that's where Brady Oliveira would flourish. Because he knows how to look for holes and be patient for holes and wait for them to set up. So anyone who plays a zone blocking scheme would be great for Brady Oliveira.
Does he have enough speed to join that Miami crew?
Well, he'd be a great switch up with power.
That team is fast. Everyone has speed though on that. Even the switch up guys, right? So,
but the thing is, fast team. With the speed is also their scheme.
Yeah.
Like if you have their O line catching the holes where Brady Oliveira has to go, he can run downhill and he gains momentum as he gains speed as he goes downhill.
Yeah.
Dang. But at the same time, those NFL linebackers are hella big.
And they're quick. Do you think he actually has a good opportunity to play down in the NFL?
I think he has a skill. Does he have the opportunity? No. Because even a prime player like Garrett Jones, who played in the NFL, was still part of the political game because he came from a smaller school.
Yeah.
So never mind a Canadian who plays in the CFL who is not fresh out of university. There's politics in that too.
There's so many running backs out there. Teams just like plug and play kind of thing for the most part, right? Finding a cheaper running back. They're not getting paid what they used to. So
exactly. So if Milt Stegall was not available, all-time Bombers, who are you taking at receiver? So many good answers online. Thanks for checking in. The question will be there on Facebook and Twitter and Threads and Reddit or whatever we're on. What else? Discord?
Oh, Discord.
I don't know anymore. But I'm going to go with James Murphy. You know, he's number 2 in yards, number 2 in receptions, yards in a season, number 1 in receptions in a single season with 116. So almost went with Joe Pop, but I'm going to go with James Murphy.
Yeah, I got to stick with him as well. And there's other guys. Terrence Edwards, looking at his numbers today, you know, and he was over 7,000 yards in 7 seasons. Like,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, so he was dominant in that time. And who did he play with quarterback wise? I was trying to think of, would have been Kevin Glenmore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he wasn't too bad on at least his quarterback compared to like Milt Stegall, all the guys he had to play with. But yeah, it's got to go. You got to go James Murphy. You know, obviously he said second MOP award as well. Just dominant in his time here in Winnipeg. I liked someone mentioning though on Twitter that Geroy Simon could have been on this list if Milt wasn't here, or if Milt left. Geroy could have ended up staying here and then putting up those eye-popping numbers here. So
he was a Bomber.
Yeah, and he left. He went to sign in BC, right? So
that's not a wrong answer.
No, but it's an interesting one because I've never really thought of it. For some reason, I always thought that G-Roy went to the NFL after his season with the Bombers. But I mixed that up. He was in the NFL first, then came here. And did they not just re-sign him just because Milt was already there, kind of thing, or did they just not think he would be good? G-Roy, like the Bombers, after the 2 years.
Yeah, I'm
Remember?
sure that's just he slipped through not slipping through the cracks, but he didn't have like a huge year, and
yeah, he was decent. He had decent numbers, and even his first couple of years in BC, it wasn't nothing spectacular either, right?
yeah, so, yeah, it's a good
funny.
answer.
Yeah.
G. Roy Simon. Which Bomber player intrigues you of the ones that they revealed from the negotiation list?
Yeah, I was reading Ed Tate's article about it because he had everyone there and he had a good blurb about each player just so I could learn because I don't know a lot of these college guys, right? But
yeah,
I was going through and I found this defensive end, and I may say his last name wrong, but Praise Amaewule, plays in Texas El Paso, but all-star, all-conference USA second all-star, all-time quarterback sack leader in UTEP. Had 5 sacks, 33 tackles, 6 tackles for a loss, 2 forced fumbles, so on and so on. And he's 6'3", 250 pounds. And he has an 82-inch wingspan, which is half an inch smaller than big old Willie Jefferson. So this guy stuck out to me when I was reading that. I'm like, this is perfect because the defensive ends on the Bombers and D line is getting older. Yeah. This guy would fill in, at a young age and could end up coming here and being dominant, maybe even learning from Willie Jefferson for a season or two, and learning the tricks of the trade.
It'd be nice to see him in camp.
Yes.
Did you really just say big old Jefferson?
Something like that, yeah.
Damn. I didn't say it.
Say it. He's not old. He's not old. He's not old.
He might be watching. That's your problem now. My player, I also picked a defensive player. I'm going with Jalen Redmond from Oklahoma. Just a great athlete, a basketball background, didn't play football until his junior year in school. Clocked like the best 40 time on the defensive line at the combine. So obviously he's a quick learner, big playing at Oklahoma on a high level, just starting in high school. Went to the Panthers as an undrafted free agent. I would love to see what he can do on the D line, cause havoc at 6'2", 290. Like he's another Mustafa Johnson, maybe.
That'd be freaking sweet.
Yeah, probably.
Awesome.
Won't put up the sack numbers, but if you can have him causing havoc for whatever D ends that you have, man, I hope you see him in camp one day.
I like how we both stuck on the D line.
Heck yeah.
There was like 3 quarterbacks and whoever else on that list. And it's like, man.
They'll sign Drew Brown. It's fine.
And a couple of wide receivers, I think, or whatever. So
Tyson Philpot signed wide receivers. Signed in Montreal. Man, he had a good Grey Cup game. Do you think the Grey Cup? Yeah, I know. Do you think his Grey Cup was his coming out party? How many yards do you see him getting next year? Personally, yes. I think that I don't think he'll be the next Ben Cahoon. Don't get me wrong. But I do think the Grey Cup is his coming out party. I think it'll be phenomenal next year. Not Ben Cahoon, but maybe like a Gerald Wilcox level type of receiver who had a very great career. I don't think he'll hit 1,600 like Wilcox did one year. But, he put 500 this year. He had that big catch in the Grey Cup. I think I'll have that confidence going into the offseason. That'll motivate his work ethic. Fajardo will trust him more definitely in whatever situations because he knows in a big game he'll come up big. So I think he'll put up 850 and start a very good career as a Canadian receiver.
Yeah, and he put up 532 in 13 games only.
Jeez.
So if you went for an 18-game season, he's already at 736, so somewhere around there. So yeah, he was this whole season, and that Grey Cup was almost the cherry on the top of kind of a coming out season for him. And he had a good rookie season as well. He put up 459 in his rookie season too. So
yeah,
if he had played this full season, yeah, he's definitely probably getting this 700 at least. I'm thinking he's getting 800 to 1,000 for sure. I see him continuing to grow. And Fajardo trusted him in the Grey Cup at the biggest moment of the game.
Absolutely.
So that's just going to grow. And next year, and it's great. Canadian wide receiver. It's good for the league. Again, I'd rather him be on the Bombers, but that's not happening. But yeah, good for Montreal. They found a good one. And I think, yeah, he'll take the next step.
Second generation CFL or Corey Philpot. Hell of a running back that guy was.
Oh, Jeez. He was good. My brother too plays near Philpot, right?
Calgary.
His brothers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Tyson. No, this is Tyson. What's his Tyler? Is it with a T too?
Terminator 2?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your name. It does matter, brother. We'll get your name. It's just fresh, and we weren't expecting to talk about.
I wasn't expecting to talk about him.
We're bad. Benny, you have anything to say to our friends before we get heat from the Philpot family?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, go check out our Garrick Jones interview. Great conversation with him, with, you know, his playing days, the future of the CFL. Fantastic conversation. And again, we got another one coming up next week, and have a good week.
Yeah, we got Christmas break coming up, but we got a huge interview.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
You already know it's Swaggerville.
Yeah.
You already know it's defense. Check in on the weekend. Next 48 hours, we're going to send you a highlight clip of who is going to join us from Swaggerville. But until then, in the meantime, and in between time, that's it. Another edition of Ray and Benny Talk Sports. Hey, friends and neighbors, don't forget to check us out online on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Ray Benny Sports. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell us what you think.